All right, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Also, peace and safety to the Akim that spread across the four corners of the world. That's pushing out this truth with all diligence and putting their lives on the line to do so. The brother Karazah of Great Millstone, Atlanta. Back at you again with another brief lesson. Just going into the topic of, being mindful who, we spend our time around, because, these people out in the world, they don't have the same mindset as us. They don't know the scriptures. They don't know, a lot of people don't know right from wrong, or they know and don't really care, So they'll use any and everything to their own gain, even if that means, doing something, dishonorable to you, So I'm gonna start off in Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 13 and verse 17. And it says, "What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb?" Right. You never see, a wolf, or a lamb, just kicking it, and being all happy-go-lucky with a lamb. The Lord likened us unto lambs, Matter of fact, let me get that and I'll come back. Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." You see? So the Lord Yahweh Shai, our Lord Yahweh Shai, he said he sent us forth as sheep. Sheep aren't harmful animals, man. And that's why a lot of times, when we look at, situations that we've been through, a lot of people try to get over on us because we're sheep. We're doing stuff out of the, the kindness of our heart, so to speak. And people take advantage of that. So we've, through our experience, of course, have to learn to, gain a cold heart towards these people, man. Because they're wicked. Now it comes to the brothers, to the Akim, of course, when they're in need of help or, certain situations, we could be there for them. But a lot of people, you just got to wash your hands with them, man. Because they will do you dirty. All right. So going back to Revelation, not Revelation, I'm tripping. Going back to Ecclesiasticus chapter 30 and verse 17, Sirach chapter 13 verse 17. "What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly." It says, "What agreement is there between the hyena and the dog?" Because there is no agreement. These are all, predator animals, that's seeking to kill. The hyena and the wolf. These are predator animals, that's out for blood. So there's no fellowship or dealings with them. It says, "And what peace between the rich and poor?" Because ultimately, when we get to the kingdom, we'll, things could be more on a, what's the word I want to say? It could be more, of a, you could deal with people more accordingly, more righteously, But for now, people just out to get each other, man. That's why the Lord told us not to be a part of the world, to separate from it, man. Because this is what you get. This is what happens. I think that was pretty much it. But like the scripture said, what fellowship have the wolf with the lamb? So we really have to be observant, of who, we're around, man. Not doing certain dealings with people, especially, when money is involved, or, you can, lose something as far as your job, or, whatever the case may be, man. We have to be, use our wisdom, that we've obtained, in order to, be steps ahead of these people, man. So, I just briefly wanted to touch on that. Lord willing, it was edifying. I'm going to go ahead and close up by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rukakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Till next time, shalom.